Season 3, round number 4 here. Apologies there. We're here then for round number 4 in Russia for the Russian Grand Prix, round number 4 of Season 3 here in ERL F1. Brand new YouTube channel, hopefully you're here. If you are just arriving, make sure you hit that subscribe button for all future commentaries here for F1 here on this channel. Also hit the like button for this stream. Shows your support, shows you're enjoying the stream. Hello everyone, welcome. If you're unaware of what's recently happened, of course we had Australia round 1 a few weeks ago. Kicked off ERL for F1 2017. It was an absolute stonker of a race. ERL Falcon walked out with the victory there. In China it was Michelangelo who won, and in Bahrain Falcon bounced back. Mike now has a 3-point lead in the championship over Falcon. And we look to see how that will develop at the moment. We've currently got 15 drivers in. We're expecting around 16 or 17. Some good numbers this afternoon. Hopefully we can get some good numbers on the stream. I believe the F2 and the F3 race, which took place earlier on today, were quite good. So hopefully F1 can follow suit quite nicely then. Should be interesting to see. If you're just joining the stream, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button. Also, subscribe and hit the like button. Shows your support for the stream and shows you're enjoying the commentary. And persuades me to stay here to commentate ERL further on into the season. We now have 16 drivers in the lobby. Just going to post a link into the F2 chat for anyone who would like to watch it there. I believe we are live. It is working, I believe. Yes, we are live indeed. So make sure you hit that like button, guys. Just going to put the link in different chats for everyone to get on. We may struggle with viewership here today. This is the first video here on this channel. Interesting, this race, I really don't know. I know Mike is, I think, the quickest in coin race, well, the quickest in the world around Russia. I also believe that he's quite far ahead of Max, who's Falcon, ERL Falcon, who is his title contender 3 races in. They're the only 2 who have actually won a race so far. We've probably got 17 drivers, that's quite good numbers. We're heading up to 5 o'clock then. So hopefully we can get going very shortly. If you're just joining the stream, hit the like button and subscribe. We will be a little lower on viewers this afternoon, just due to the fact that this is the first stream on this channel. So do expect a little lower on viewership, but of course we will be looking up in the future. So you got some drivers then beginning to ready up. Then we've got 5 out of 17. Looks like we'll be getting underway shortly. Hello Mitchell, good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Subscribe to the channel. The like button, everything same old, same old. Sit back, relax. Grab yourself a cup of tea, anything you want. We're 15 seconds away from the start of qualifying. Of course, we have that new update which added the new spectator camera. I still haven't used that, so this will be my first commentary with it, and I'm incredibly excited to use it. It should make my life as a commentator a lot easier. Of course, the last time I commentated in China, we didn't even know what position people were in, so commentary for you guys should be so much more enjoyable to watch, and for me, so much more enjoyable to commentate on. Now, here we go then. So we're loading in to qualifying. Share this stream with your friends. Thank you very much, Lakitu, if I could say your name correctly. Make sure you like and subscribe. Of course, the new commentary channel for F1. This is where all the F1 ERL races will take place from now on. So make sure you subscribe and stay here, because it's going to be one hell of a fun race. And of course myself commentating for the first time using this camera. So do bear with me if I make a few mistakes. But I've been practicing as much as I can to give you the best viewing experience here this evening. Of course, if you are not watching and you are got some chips ready, absolutely phenomenal, Mitchell. Sit down and you're going to absolutely love this. If you are watching FP3 at the same time, that'll be fab. So you can watch ERL F1 and the American Grand Prix FP3 as well. It's a perfect Saturday evening with some chips for Mitchell as well. It doesn't get any better than that in my eyes. So here we go then. Qualifying is about to begin for round 4 of season 3. The most important thing we're going to find out now is whether there will be rain or not in the qualifying session. So it's going to be a dry qualifying session then, and here we go. So I'm going to turn on all the spectators. We're going to put current, we're going to put the best lap, and we're going to do telemetry and do lap data. So I'm going to make sure everything's on there, nice and ready. And look at this, absolutely phenomenal. This is going to be a whole lot of guns. We've got 17 drivers here, it's quite a lot. We can see who's going out first, etc. So this spectator cam is going to be a whole lot of fun to use. And that's... who's that coming out the garage? That's Mercedes. I believe that's John 7722. It is. Coming out of the pit lane. Who's that? Is that might be Mr. Costa. That's Joe Ruru coming out in the Toro Rosso. And there is Ash Best coming out in the Sauber. I have fixed my controller problems. I have no idea what was going on. Lewis has just joined back, so we have 18 drivers to the race. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. It was very weird. It was glitching out in F2, so apologies for that. I couldn't race F2, but it is fixed now. I don't actually know what was wrong. It just managed to fix itself as soon as I left the F2 lobby. Interesting. Kovis Jimmy in the McLaren Honda. Looks beautiful under the sunlight there. On his outlap, we've already looked at Ash Best. George Alice in the Williams. Looks like it's getting pretty congested out there on track. Tusmas, good to see him racing. How's the championship going? Well, at the moment we've had 3 races, we've only had 2 winners. In Australia, ERL Falcon took the lead. Here he is. This is ERL Falcon coming out for Force India with the pink helmet. A lot of drivers representing the pink helmet. Of course, spotting breast cancer like F1 is this weekend. Falcon will proudly run that in his pink Force India. So he won in Australia. Then Season 1 world champion, this man in the Ferrari, won China. And then it was back to ERL Falcon in Bahrain, and currently Michelangelo leads the World Championship by 3 points. And who is that? I'm not really sure who his teammate is. I think that is the OGR1. Interesting. Thank you, Lampros Sapropoulos. Sorry, appalling pronunciation. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. So if you do subscribe, I will get a notification and I will shout you out on the stream. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button, car number 90 there. So we've got a lot of guys on their out laps. Danny in the Red Bull. I'm not sure who'll be setting their lap first though. George Alice is on a lap, I believe. We're about to start one. Let's go on board with him. Watch him for his lap. So first final lap, George Alice, he's got some good pace around here. So what kind of first sector time are we expecting around here? We're expecting anywhere in the high 28. Sorry, not 28. Sorry, that's me completely get it wrong. I think anywhere in the 33s, a high 33. We'd be expecting for a good first sector time. A lot of people now on their flying laps. We're going to go on board with George Alice though for the moment. Then I think we'll jump on board with Michelangelo, the championship leader. So let's see what he does. We're expecting a 33.9 to be a pretty good time. He says a 34.1, not too bad from George Alice. Let's go on board with ERL Falcon as John 7722 has retired from the session. So your winner last time out in Bahrain, ERL Falcon. Let's go on board with him. He's already had a retiree in this session. We'll also go on board with Michelangelo. We'll go on board with him first, as he's going to set his sector time first. So, high 33s we're expecting from qualifying. Let's see what Mike can set. 33.8. That's pretty good from Michael. Let's go back on board with ERL Falcon. See if he can beat the 33.8 of Mike. No, it's not. 34.1, matching George Alice's time. Let's go back on board with Kovis Jimmy, who's done a 1.78. He was the first man on track. Ash Best has just set a 1.33.9 in the Sauber. Going on board then with Kovis Jimmy. Let's see if he can beat that 1:33.9. Croissant Train is just won a 35.9. I'm pretty sure he backed off, and it's not going to be good enough from Cobblers Jimmy. It's a 1:35.4, which puts him in second. On board Mike, a 1:06.4 in the middle sector from Mike. That's pretty good so far. Looks like he'll take himself to provisional pole. Lakitu goes with a 33.8 provisional pole. George Alice does a 37.7. Go back on board with ERL Falcon. I did actually miss his sector time, so we'll stay on board with Mike for the remainder of the lap. Looked a little bit scruffy coming out there. The back end stepping out on him in a little bit. 33.8 so far from Lakitu is the quickest time. Can Mike beat it? Yes, he can. 33.4 from Michelangelo. Very good lap. His closest challenger, ERL Falcon. Can he beat it? No, he can't. Only good enough for P4. As Ash Best has just slotted in there with a 33.9. So Mike is currently 4/10 quicker than anyone else. Danny, he's on his lap. Let's see what he sets. Where does it put him? That is good enough. A 1:35.2 for P8. John Digweed coming out on his outlap then. Tusmus in the pits. Ace Hasnain, I believe that is his name, in the Renault. You're out of chips. Oh dear. Come around the final corner. What kind of lap is this going to put him? It's going to put him only good enough for P15. It might have been invalidated then, I think, if it's only going to put him P15. John Digweed, I believe, as PX Eno. Thank you very much for subscribing. Apologies again if I get that wrong, as Ash Best has just gone faster than Mike by only a few hundred. So well done, Ash Best. Putting it in provisional pole. Well done to him. So let's take a look at our pole contenders. It might be a straight fight between Ash Best and Mike. I don't think Mike, he's 10.8 seconds down, so he's not on a flying. I don't know if we saw the best from Falcon or Lakitu, but Ash Best puts it on provisional pole after the first run. So if you're just joining us, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for all future ERL F1 commentating. Subscribe to this channel and hit this like button. We've got 6 viewers, very good viewer number here. So Ash Best is currently on provisional pole, just ahead of Mike. So those two could be our two pole sitters. Not sure, of course, as Lakitu or ERL Falcon provided good laps and Mally Duck, etc. So we don't really know if anyone's provided good quality laps, as they're all feeding into the pit lane now as just get ready to start the next lap. Even though Danny is on another lap, he's decided to go out and do it again. Can he improve on his current 35.2? Yes, he can. 34.4. Very well done from Danny. Puts him up into P8. Tusmus out on his outlap. Be interesting to see what kind of pace he has around here. But yeah, so the top two pretty much 4/10 clear of anyone else. Who is that in the Force India? Not really sure. It's Nukaku. Sorry, not Nukaku. Nokara, I believe it is. Sorry again with the pronunciations. Very important. He's on an outlap also. So is Tusmus. John Digweed is on a lap. Let's see what he's done. A 1.8 flat. That's about 1.2 seconds off the pace in the middle sector. This tricky final sector, very, very weavy, obviously. It takes a lot of skill to get it right, but the best drivers do get it right, and it's very rewarding when you do get it right. So where is this lap going to put John Digweed? It's going to put him P12. So a little bit of a slower lap then from John Digweed. So Tusmus then about to start his flying lap. Let's go on board with him. He was a very quick driver in F1 2016. I haven't really seen much of him in 2017. Just getting on a little bit of the grass there. Not sure how much time that's going to cost him. There's yellow flags in Sector 1. Not sure what that is. It's green as we go back into Turn 1. Be interested to see. So he saw I think it was a 33.8 from Mike in the first sector. I should imagine that Ash Best did a very, very similar lap time. In the first sector, I should imagine. So we're going to go on board with Tuss and see what he does. Looks pretty tidy and looks pretty quick so far. So 33.8 set by Mike in the first sector. Tusmus does a 34.1. That equals ERL Falcon's time. So this looks like a decent lap and could be into P3 or P4. Lovely, Elfie. Absolutely amazing. So this, again, seems pretty clean from Tusmus. Not pushing all the way. He might actually just be, conserving, of course, his first lap. So just over, actually saying that, there's only just over 3 minutes remaining in qualifying. Lakitu's on his outlap. The OG GL1. The OG GL1 as Danny has retired. Sector 3 yellows. Not sure if he hit the wall there or he voluntarily retired. The OGR1, hello Chill Drive, is on an outlap. ERL Falcon, Mally Duck on an outlap. So Tusmus might not get time to do another lap. I missed his middle sector there. Apologies. So he might not get time to feed into the pits and do another lap. So this might be Tusmus' only opportunity to try and grab pole. I do, Little Box, you're correct. So, let's see where this puts him. It's only good enough for P6 as John Digweed retires. So, ERL Falcon is on his outlap. Then, Mike is on his outlap, the championship leader. Ashbest is just coming out of the pits now. A lot of retirees at the moment. Mally Duck also on his outlap. Very interesting, very interesting. Mr. Costa on outlap. So pretty much everyone now is on their outlap. So who's out first out of the pole contenders? Lakito, he's just started his lap. So let's go on board with Lakito then and see what he can do in the first sector. As I've said, 33.8 set by Mike in the first sector. I didn't see Ashbest. Ashbest is retired. So Ashbest has had enough. He thinks his lap is good enough for pole, and I have fixed my controller. Chill Drive, thank you very much for asking. So we're going to go on board Lakito. 33.8 is the quickest first sector. Burgers and Tusmus has also retired to 33. Can Lakito beat it? Oh, 34 flat. That is quicker than his previous time though, so he is up. On board with anyone else? ERL Falcon has just started his lap. Let's take a look at his lap and see if it's clean or not. This is going to be quite... It is Park Ferme, is on Lewis. This is going to be interesting to see what Max Falcon can complete. He needs it to be good. He's about 8... He's about 4/10 off the pace. No, 5/10 off the pace. So he really does need an absolute stonky. He was 2 or 3/10 off the pace in the first sector alone. So he really needs to get his head down and have a good first sector. Akito, let's see what he sets in the second sector first. Fortunately, we're not going to be able to see that. Let's see what Falcon sets if the time decides to turn. 34.1, I think that said. That's not very quick. That's equaling to his last time. Is Mike just about to start his flying lap? And Mally Duck, unfortunately, just missed him. So on board with Lakito. He's coming round the final corner. Is this lap going to be good enough to put him on provisional pole? No, it's not. It's only good enough. He doesn't improve. He's 5 thousandths slower. Let's see what ERL Falcon does in the second. I believe a 106.9 is the quickest in the second, and that looked like a 106.8, so this might be good from ERL Falcon. This could be a good lap. He needs to keep it under control for this, for that final sector. Let's see what Mike does in the first. 33, that equals Mike's time from last time out. Falcon, as he turned onto him, is sliding all over the place, coming through the penultimate corner. I think he had quite a good final sector around the final corner. Is it going to be good enough for provisional pole for Falcon? No, it's not. It's only good enough for P3, despite a 3/10 improvement. So it'll be Mike then, or like Ashbest, who grab pole, unless the OG George, who only just improved by 4/10. Let's see what he does in the first sector. He's quicker than Mike in the first sector, so the OG George is not out of it then. Do not count him out of it. Mike is 4/10 quicker than Falcon in the first sector. Yeah, I think the OGR1 is actually quicker than Mike in the first sector, so he might grab pole, unless Mike can take it from Ashbest as we finished qualifying here. We've got the likes of ERL Falcon and Lakito who are still on laps, but Mike now, coming around the final corner now, will it be good enough to grab pole? Yes, it will, by just over 1/10 of a second. And unfortunately, I can't change drivers now, but Mike is currently on provisional pole. But I want to keep on the OG R1 as Lakito just beats ERL Falcon's time. Thank you very much, customers, for subscribing. And unfortunately I can't change driver now, so we're just going to keep an eye on the leaderboard now on the OGR1, whether he can beat Mike's time, because he was up in the first sector on Mike. It's also eyes on Falcon, whether he can get back ahead of Lakito, who just pinched him at the line there. So just keep an eye on the leaderboard to see those times jump, and the OGR1 must have lost some time because it's only good enough for P6. Can ERL Falcon pinch P3 back? That's what we're currently watching and looking at now. Will he be able to do it? Still no news. Just waiting on ERL Falcon. I cannot change driver, and unfortunately, as I watch Mike across the line, and he's in the pit, so he will not. So there we go then. Everyone has finished qualifying. And it's going to be Mike who takes pole over Ashbest. Not by much. If Ashbest did another lap, he might have clinched it. But a good lap from Mike, and takes pole position by just over 1/10 of a second here in Russia. Very, very well done. That was a great qualifying session. So make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed that qualifying session. Wow, that was very good. So you got Mike in P1, Ashbest starting P2, Lakitu in P3, ERL Falcon in P4, George Alice in P5, the OGR 1 in P6. I will get that name right once. Mali Duck in 7th, Mr. Costa in 8th, Tusmas in 9th, Nokaru in 10th, Jururu in 11th. And there we go. So that is qualifying over. And Mike has grabbed pole. Hit the like button, guys, if you're enjoying this stream, as we're about to get into the good stuff here. That is just a confirmation of the final qualifying classifications. Okay, so P18 default setup for Lewis. Good luck with that, my friends. Wow, so here we go. It's going to be an exciting race then. We've got some interesting contenders at the top there. Very interesting. Should be fun to see. Guys, make sure you hit the like button. It is really appreciated for the stream. Proves you are enjoying the stream and allows me to commentate further here for ERL. And also subscribe to the channel if you are new. This is where all ERL F1 commentating videos will take place from now on. So then we're just waiting for the players to ready up. And we will be 5 red lights. No formation lap, of course. Then, for this race. So Tusmas is the first man to ready up, which starts the 30-second countdown for the drivers. Probably adding a bit of extra fuel here. Just confirming with Jeff, going over their strategy for the race start here in this evening. Hit that like button for what is going to be an absolutely phenomenal race here in Russia for ERL Season 3, Round 4. Here we go then. Oh dear, what's happened here? Oh, we've got a glitch. Oh no, we can't see what's happening. Oh, there we go. 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. That was a little bit interesting. And always a Sauber is pulling into the wall now. I'm not sure who that is. Mike's lost the position off the start. Akito takes the lead, and the ERL Falcons dropped off. I'm not sure who that was. That was a Sauber in the wall. Big crash off turn 1. So that's going to be Lakiti then. Max is into P2. Michael has dropped all the way to P4 then, and Lakiti's in the lead. George Alice is up to 2nd, and ERL Falcons in 3rd. Lots of position changing going near the back of the grid. Not really sure what happened there, but Lakitu is leading the race, and ERL Falcon take a look down the inside of George Alice there. Top 5 pulling away a little bit. Tuss has just got over to P6 there, and and ERL Falcon coming under pressure from Mike, and then sliding all over the place is Lakitu there in P1. Just going to put on there, just going to put the tyres for you on there. There we go. Malik Zucker's just overtaken John, who might be falling back. He may have an issue because he's falling back there. But at the start of lap 1, it's Lakitu who's leading the race from George Alice, from ERL Falcon, who's right on the back of George Alice. But Michael Ancelo's right on the back of ERL Falcon. The 2 championship contenders here. Mike's all over the back here. He's going to take the inside line. Switches back to the outside. Back to the inside for Mike, around the outside. And breaks late does ERL Falcon. He's going to run wide a little bit there. Tries to switch back, will Mike, and it's not going to work. And ERL Falcon stays ahead on this occasion. So Mike then lost 4 positions off the start. Not really sure how many positions George Alice gained. 3 there. So we're just going to keep that on for a while. Lewis gained 7 positions off the start. What a start for him. So we're going to keep on board with the 2 championship contenders then. We're actually saying that we do have a battle at the front between Lakitu and George Alice. They're pulling away. George Alice is in the slipstream of Lakitu though. Getting very, very close are they there. We're going to go on board with George Alice because that camera is no use. Just around the outside. George Alice breaks very late and slots it around the outside but goes wide. They both run wide, but George Alice takes the lead of the race. And they both won wide, and the Williams man has gained 4 positions on the first lap and is leading this race. George Alice, that was Lakitu, sorry. Taking a look, George Alice runs wide now. Falcon and Mike are right on the back of them. We've now got a 4-way scrap for the lead as Falcon has managed, as Tusmus retires from the race in P13. So Falcon has managed to stay ahead of Mike in lap 1. And now we've got George Alice leading the race from Lakitu. But because of that battle, that's allowed Falcon and Mike to catch back up to this train. Very interesting indeed. Max is for Falcon, sorry, is right on the back of Lakitu, who lost the position to George Allen after they both ran wide into turn 1. And you can see all 4 of them are oh so close, all within 2/10 of each other then. Here we go, going into turn 13. Is anyone going to overtake? Max is right on the back of Lakitu. Is he going to get him? Looks down the inside, brakes very late, sticks his nose in. But no, he's going to have to stay behind on this occasion. Oh, and that's Lakitu. Lakitu's round. Lakitu is spun on his own accord and is round and is losing position after position and is now down in P14, 15. It's all gone so horribly wrong for Lakitu, who started P2 on the grids. And oh dearie me, meanwhile George Alice has taken the lead of the race. I think that was on his own accord. I don't think that was caused by anyone else catching him. If it would have been anyone, it would have been ERL Falcon. Don't think so. So then we've now got George Alice leading the race. ERL Falcon in P2. Mike all over the back of him. Just keep an eye on that gap now between ERL Falcon and Michael Angelo. You can see most gaps are within a second. Let's have a board though with Mr. Costa, who's right on the back. His lovely 3-way scrap for P6 at the moment. So 4-way scrap. That's about to turn into a 5-way scrap for P6. Very interesting. Whether Nuacro has actually got pace issues or not is interesting. So we keep on board then. We just keep an eye on that gap. ERL Falcon seems to be catching George Alice quite quickly then, as Mr. Costa's dropping back, and that's a car gone wide. That's a McLaren. He almost spun into the wall there, and he's rejoined a little dangerously. That's Covis Jimmy. He's run wide the past 2 corners. And how close was that? Meanwhile, the 3-way battle at the front. DRS has now been enabled, so both ERL Falcon and Mike will have DRS. Yeah, they're going to get very close then into turn 15. Falcon's going to take a look, but he sees back into the inside. He realises he's got plenty of laps of racing to go. And now he's, of course, got to be patient. We're going to have a 3-way fight for the lead by looks of things, because the OGR1, just keep an eye on that gap. He's 1.6 seconds behind, and if these 3 start battling, then that gap might come tumbling down. Then, of course, we've got Ashbest in P5, who started P2. Sorry, Nikita started P3. Apologies there. So, okay, looks like ERL Falcon's lost quite a bit of time there. Yes, he has, because Mike has set the fastest lap of the race so far, and he's the quickest man out there at the moment. So, George Alice and Falcon have to be careful. George Alice swiping over to the right-hand side of the track to try and break that slipstream. Falcon just follows suit, though. Seen a lot of drivers running wide at turn 1, but Mike's all over the back of the ERL Falcon. That is going to be a spicy battle between the 2 championship contenders as this race develops. Yeah, interesting that. Very, very interesting indeed. And oh, Mike just rim. Mike is side by side. Oh, and they almost come together. Mike and Falcon touch. Mike goes up the inside, and Mike gets P2 over Falcon. They're getting very aggressive. Meanwhile, George Alice is just running away with this. Oh, they're getting ever so close, and look at that. Wow, absolutely amazing racing from Mike and Falcon. Wow, so you can see now Mike has got Falcon quite well, actually. Let's see then. Let's see Mike, who definitely is the quicker of the 3 drivers, hunt down George Alice now for remaining race. You can see the OGR1 is in the back. Mike doesn't have DRS, Falcon does, so that's just going to help Falcon maintain that gap. Falcon now has just got to stay behind Mike and try and keep up with him and try and catch George Alice. Lovely starting phase to this race then. If you enjoyed that, smash that like button, because that was absolutely phenomenal. And Mike is catching the George Alice very quickly. Just keep an eye on that interval, the top left there. New broadcast camera. Just trying to keep on. It looks like we've got a battle down there in P6 for P5. That is going to get saucy down this straight with a gap of just 2/10 with DRS as well for Nuacro. Going to be interesting. This is going to get very spicy between the Sauber and the Force India driver. Is he going to go on board with Nuacro, because it's a better camera and he seems to drop back quite a bit actually in the straight. Oh, meanwhile, Mike is oh so close to George Alice now, and that's unfortunately not a very good camera. Mike is right at the backside, and Falcon seems to be dropping off quite a bit there. Yeah, you can see that's Mike. He is within 2/10. Mike is by far the quickest man on the circuit. Takes a look, but pulls back in. So Mike is definitely the quickest man on the circuit at the moment. But George Alice is holding up Rice's. Lakita's just set a fastest lap down in, where is Lakita? Is Daniel Kuvis? Jimmy may have a problem because he's just lost 2 positions. He may do. Interesting, Lakita is obviously pitted because he's 25 seconds off the car in front of him. After that spin he had, of course, probably got damage. So then on the straight, Mike will have DRS this lap. Falcon seems to be dropping back a little bit here as Mike is right on the back of George Alice. Is he going to get him? He's gaining in the slipstream. Into turn 13, round the outside. That soon turns into the inside. But Mike pulls back in and thinks better of it. Mike knows that he's the quicker driver. He's got plenty of laps. No point of risking some damage when he knows he's the quicker driver. And he's got plenty of time to do so. But that has allowed ERL Falcon to stay on the back of him. As I've just said, ERL Falcon, of course, has got to try and stay with Mike. Mike is by far much quicker at the moment. Hello, Zylan. Welcome to the stream. Yep, so here we go on this straight. George Alice seems to be struggling a little bit now with two drivers right at his backside. ERL Falcon is even closer to Mike than Mike is to George Alice. So it's actually worked out in ERL Falcon's favour a little bit here. Let's see what happens here. Into turn one, they've got slipstream, train here. And because they've all got DRS except George Alice, no overtakes are occurring. So George Alice must be running very, very low wings to have very good straight line speed. They come very close to Mike's front wing there. Mike's right on the back of George Alice. I'm surprised he hasn't gone for a move there. But George Alice is definitely holding up these two drivers at the moment. Mike definitely seems so much quicker than George Alice, but George Alice might be running good straight line speeds. He's making it very difficult for Mike and Falcon to pass, but they will get there eventually if they keep trying. That's what makes these drivers so good. They'll keep trying. Look at Mike, he's right on the back of George Alice. Any closer, he'd be touching him. But Falcon is starting to drop off in this second sector like he did last lap. Yep, got to keep an eye on that battle for P6 because that is getting a little bit swervy. But we're going to go back on board with Mike because, again, we've got this three-train slipstream. Mike is right in the slipstream. Where's he going to go this time? He's going to take the inside line. That will turn to the outside line for the next corner. Then Mike gets him. Mike's in the lead of the race. Is he? Yes, he is. Falcon dive bombs. Oh, it's such a dive bomb. And Falcon gets him just about. And George Alice has been penalised for that. And that was a very, very audacious move from Falcon. It may have cost George Alice a bit of damage. That was a very questionable move from ERL Falcon, but now we've got Mike in first and ERL Falcon in second. Yeah, that was a questionable move from ERL Falcon, but he knew he couldn't stay behind George Alice because obviously Mike would have pulled away, so he's got away with it, but it was a very audacious move, but that's how it is in Formula 1 sometimes. So now Falcon has DRS, Mike doesn't, so Falcon is gaining. Will he pull to the inside? He does, down the inside, late braking from Falcon, but no, Mike gets him around the outside, and into turn 3, I don't think he is, of course, gonna get it. Yes, good shout from Zarling because of course penalties is very high around here. 2 warnings from Mike already. It's a penalty for Falcon. That's not good. George Alice doesn't have a single warning then. Wow. So Falcon already with a penalty, Mike not. George Alice doesn't have a single warning. So if those two keep battling, we could see Mike get a penalty. And if George Alice stays within 3 seconds, he's within net P1 then. So you've got to keep that in mind. Thank you for reminding me, Zardan. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, guys, if you're enjoying this race, and subscribe if you're new to this channel. This is where all the ERL F1 commentary will come from in the future. So then, is Mike... He's got quite a decent gap. I'm surprised the ERL Falcon's actually keeping up with him. I thought Mike would really zoom off. You can see George Alice is dropping back now from the front 2 runners. That battle for 6th and 5th is still going on heavily. Lewis into P5, by the way. What a start from him at the inside. Oh, and he touched his side pod. That's an audacious move. That's questionable from Ash Best. He got very punchy, touched the side pod, and Lewis rightfully pushes him wide. That was very aggressive from Ash Best, and I think Lewis got the position. I think Lewis is already ahead. Yeah, interesting that. Very interesting. George Alice is actually not bad. You can see the OGR 1 is actually gaining on George Alice. But Lewis is doing so well from the back of the grid on a default setup to P5 on Supersoft. A great job from Lewis so far then. Realistically, the rest of the grid, there's not much happening apart from these front 2 guys. I'm not really sure when we'll start to pit. Corner cutting limitations yet. Falcon is obviously known for his corner cutting. He hasn't got a warning last lap. Mike is only on 2 warnings, and that was Falcon, I think, who just missed it. Pretty much put himself in the wall there. Oh, dearie me. And he's now almost a second behind, and that is what I'm talking about with the ERL Falcon. He makes way too many mistakes, and that is probably what costs him. He does make too many mistakes, doesn't he? And that is why he's not a world champion. That's why he loses out on races. But you can see he is actually gaining as Danny retires. Oh dearie me, He's falling down. Zana says, Mike, easy win. It's not over yet. Falcon seems to be catching Mike and seems to have perhaps the better pace at the moment. That's what I'm seeing so far. He was 9/10 off, now it's 6/10. So Falcon definitely seems quicker than Mike at this stage in the race. Mike could be conserving. It's very possible though. Yep, indeed it is. Got to keep in mind though, Mike could be doing anything. He maybe realised that there was, of course, a spin from Max, as Max just lost so much time there. Maybe realised there was a spin from Max, and now he's going to conserve. Meanwhile, the George Ellis, is falling back into the OGR1's thing, basically. Into the OGR1. That's not good for him ever since he got overtaken by Falcon. Falcon is still in 7th. It's a couple of points Zana makes about DRS, but yeah, the gap is about 6/10. He did lose that time, but he'll be trying to claw it back. It was about 9/10 this time last lap, and it's about 6/10. So, not just DRS, I don't think. I think Falcon is genuinely catching. As you can see, it's now 5/10. So, I think Falcon is genuinely catching. It's not just DRS. It was this where he had to spin. It was 9/10. He's gained 4/10 within a sector. I don't think you can blame it on DRS, because if it was, Mike would have just pulled away in the corner. So Falcon is actually gaining, even in the corners. You'll see he's losing a bit of time there, but it's about maintaining through the corners, and then probably in the straight it's losing. Yeah, so that's what you got to keep it in mind. Falcon is not, I wouldn't say, a very equal pace at the moment. Obviously Falcon overall in a lap is probably quicker because of DRS, but you can see it's around 6.5 throughout most of the lap. Now DRS, you expect that to get back into about 5/10, so it's eventually just going to come down from Falcon. So you expect it to be below 6.5. He's actually lost time in the DRS straight, then gain time has Falcons. That's interesting. Meanwhile, the OGR1 is right on the back of George Ellis. After that DRS straight, he has been catching for the last couple of laps, and now he is right there. Broke a little bit late, so this will be a battle for P3, the last step on the podium that is really, really spicing up, as George Ellis has lost so much time. Two is yellows in sector 3. Who's that? That might be Joe Ruro, who's had an issue because he is falling and falling. Lewis has done a great job. He's currently in P5. He's lost Ashbest quite well, actually. He's now 2.4 seconds ahead when they was pretty much side by side earlier on in the race. Gap now is just over 5/10. So Falcon is slowly but surely catching Mike. This should develop. Lewis is on a great strategy. He started from the back of the grid, Zarlan, on a default setup. He didn't qualify, so he's in P5 on Supersoft, so he could be a threat for the podium later on. This is the current fight for the final step on the podium. They're realistically the only two battles on track is for first and second. And for a podium, that gap has really shot down, and Falcon, as I look, is all of a sudden right on the back of Mike. So this is spicing up now. This is currently the closest battle on track, and luckily for us, it's for P1. Mike seems to be struggling a little bit more now on lap 10. Tyres starting to wear off a little bit. Mike may be struggling a little bit more now. And Falcon is definitely catching. About 6 or 7/10 last time. It's now 4. So Falcon definitely catching and is now probably within overtaking range of DRS. 3.5 it is now. Falcon is really on a charge now. And maybe on the next DRS straight, he'll be right on him if he can have a good sector 3. If he can keep sector 3 clean, he might be within 3/10 and have an overtaking opportunity into turn 2. Got to keep that in mind. Let's go back on board with the OGR1, and he's also right on the back of George Ellis then. Very interesting. Lewis is catching, actually, on the Supersoft. His tyres are coming into his own. So Lewis is, oh wow, really catching is Lewis, and that is ERL Falcon in the pits going for the undercut. Yep, that is an interesting call. So he's going for the undercut. He feels that that is going to be the only way he's going to overtake Mike now. So Mike is going to push now. As George Ellis also pits, so does Ashbest. So George Ellis is trying to get the undercut on the OGR1. And Mike just needs a stonking of an in-lap to stop the undercut from ERL Falcon from happening. Let's see where ERL Falcon comes out. Does he come out in traffic? That's going to be the main thing for ERL Falcon. Hopefully he doesn't for him, and I don't think he is. ERL Falcon has done that pretty well. He's going to come out in clear air. So this undercut will work pretty well for ERL Falcon if he has a clean outlap. Definitely, same with George Ellis. He's also got out with no traffic, so the undercut definitely seems to be the strategy as they've come out realistically with no traffic. So Mike needs an incredibly good in-lap here if he wants to remain P1 at the end of the pit stops, because it's going to be a struggle for him. We've seen how hard it is to overtake in the first 11 laps. Mike doesn't want to be behind Falcon for the second part of this race, but Falcon is pitted earlier, so the undercut, which you know is powerful on this game, will favour Falcon. So Mike might be behind, and we've seen how hard it is to overtake. Indeed. So just going to change that for you from tyre to stop so we can see who's actually stopped for you all as we now get into the pit stop phase. So yeah, be interested to see if Mike pits now. I think he is. So Mike is coming into the pits then. So what's going to see, he's not bad on tyres at all, Zardan. He just went for the undercut, which is very powerful in this game. So Mike into the pits then. Wouldn't surprise me if we now saw... of course, Lewis will take the lead of the race because, of course, he hasn't pitted. The OGR1 has. Falcon is getting a little bit of traffic, though. Let's see if he catches Mike. Mike has just come out of his box then. Where is Falcon? Just coming round the penultimate corner. Here we go. This is going to be interesting then. Where is Mike? Mike is coming out of the pit lane now. Where is ERL Falcon? On the straight with a little bit of slipstream. This is going to be oh so close. ERL Falcon is actually quite far behind Mike. Wow. A massive amount behind Mike indeed, isn't he? Wow, that has not worked out for ERL Falcon at all, has it? And he's also now jumped John Digweed. Has he pitted? I don't think he has. No, he hasn't. But he's lost a lot of time now to Mike because he hasn't pitted. George Ellis has also maintained ahead of the OGR1, and now Lewis takes the lead of the race. So Falcon is losing so much time behind this man, goes at the inside, and it'll be a comfortable move for him on fresher tyres. But look how much time he's lost to Mike now. He's now 2.1 seconds off, so the undercut has not worked at all for ERL Falcon. Mike is now behind Croissant Train though, so Mike may get a little bit of payback, a little bit of karma now after, of course, Falcon getting stuck behind. Just keep an eye on that gap between Falcon and Mike. It's tumbling down, but he's actually let him through as Croissant Train. He's let Mike through, so that's not what ERL Falcon would have wanted. I wonder how ERL Falcon will feel about that. Definitely will not like that, the fact that Croissant Train has let Mike through. But Falcon has caught about 8/10 of a second. In fact, he's catching even more now. Sorry, that's the Croissant Train, isn't it? So no, he probably hasn't caught that much overtaking Croissant Train. So Croissant Train has helped Mike there by letting him through. He's now going to pull into the pit, so he's not going to hold up Falcon at all. So we now get that net value between them both as ERL Falcon takes P4. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Lewis comes out, of course, on the super soft compound. He'll come out, of course, on the ultra soft and be on the quicker strategy. Just going to leave it on the stops till everyone has pitted. The gap is 1.9. Going to be interesting to see who actually has the better pace here. The undercut didn't work for Falcon, which is very surprising to me. The undercut is very powerful on this game. Very surprised the undercut didn't work. So we've still got a few drivers like Keto. Oh, dearie me, it's gone from bad to worse. He was in contention to win this race, and all of a sudden he spun, and now he has retired and is out of this race. We're waiting on four drivers to pit now. I'm going to leave the stops up there until everyone is pitted. The spin fucked it. Unlucky Lakiti. Definitely seemed on the pace today. Very unlucky. Good drive, my friend. Now sit back and enjoy the commentary. But very unlucky. You definitely had the pace to challenge these guys at the front here. That gap between Mike and Falcon really hasn't changed, has it? Over the course of this lap, it really has maintained. It's just changed to 2 seconds, 2.1 now, so Mike definitely quicker in a straight line. That's confirming it for us. See if Lewis pits or not. No, Lewis staying out again then, John. He's on ultra, so I'd expect to see him pit now. As the GR1, they're in a great battle there. Let's take a look at that. Hold on, these guys are in a ding-dong of a battle here, side by side. Just caught it, unfortunately. We missed the heat of the action. Apologies there. And John is in the pits now, and we're going to change this back to tyre for you all. Interesting. So, that was a great... Let's go back on board. Let's watch this ding-dong battle between George Ellis and the OGR1. The OGR1 is right on the back of him. He's going to get some nice slipstream. Remember, Lewis has yet to pit. He'll be on the ultra soft tyres near the end of the race, so he'll be a threat. If these two keep battling, he'll be a threat for the podium. Down the inside, the OGR1 goes. Oh, and they go so close to touching there. but good and well defended from George Alice. George Alice has just not been on the pace ever since. Meanwhile, the OGR1 is right on the back of him, 2 turn 3, swooping down the inside, goes the OGR1, puts his nose in, but stays behind again. Very similar to scenario to turn 1. He almost lost the back end and almost got put in the wall there. That was oh so close, wasn't it? And you can see that gap between Mike and Falcon. Mike seems to be pulling away a little bit there. Yeah, wow, definitely. Falcon is losing pace dramatically there. What happened for him? So this undercut strategy really hasn't worked for ERL Falcon. If Mike wins and he comes second, Mike's championship lead will be extended from 3 points to 10 points. Long way to go yet, though. Interesting to see if Lewis pits or not. I think probably now, maybe next lap, is the right time to pit for him. Yep, I think it might be next lap, doing 12 or 13 laps on the Ultras, maybe not yet, as George Alice has got him as soon as we turn off again. George Alice and GRGO1 are back, the OGR1, sorry, are really side by side again. The moment as ERL Falcon's retired! Oh no, it's game over for Falcon! In the wall, what has happened there? He's in the wall, oh dearie me, and that is not good for his championship hopes. From 3 points it might be 28 by the end of this, and that is exactly what I mean. He's made so many of those errors in the past few seasons, and he's just made another mental error probably and put it in the wall, and that is him out of the Russian Grand Prix. Okay, so let's take a look at the timings to the lead event. So yeah, you can see Mike is within 8.5 seconds, so you can see, you know, he's going to come out right in that George Alice, the OGR1 gap, isn't he? Realistically, I'm not really sure how much time you lose as the OGR1 is again got him. There he is. Look at these two. Ding-dong battle. And the OGR1 seems to gain a lot of time on George Alice there. What happened to George Alice? He may have an issue because I think maybe trying to avoid Falcon, he lost a bit of time because, yeah, interesting. So, yeah, you'll notice Lewis is going to come out realistically 4th or 5th. So, the battle for 3rd, of course, that's net P3, the OGR1. As John Digweed's yet to pit. John Digweed may hold up the Ferrari here and help out his teammate. Big time. So, this is the battle for P2, isn't it? Ever since Falcon has retired. Apologies for that. So, here we go, then. It's going to be the OGR1. Is he going to look down the inside? He's losing time now to George Alice. He's in the pit then, so we can change that back to, not fastest lap, we can change that back to interval, and we can keep an eye on where George Lewis comes out then. So he's in the pit lane now, and John Digweed's going to let through, but meanwhile George Alice is closing up. So where is Lewis going to come out then? He's coming in for Ultra Soft. I think he's going to come out behind them, as the OG1 is already round the final corner. Lewis is in P2. Where is Lewis going to come out? He's only coming out now, and he's going to be probably behind both of them. Yes, he is. Lewis is then behind both of them, as expected. By how much, though, is the problem? Not by too much, is it? It's only about 2 seconds, and he's going to be on fresh Ultra Softs, where these guys are on worn Super, so that's going to be one to watch. George Alice on fresh... No, sorry, Lewis starting from the back of the grid on fresh Ultra Soft compounds. Now on, of course, Ultra Softs, and he's hunting down George Alice. Yep, interesting, very interesting. Penalties, good call, Mitchell. Let's take a check on that. Mike has a penalty. Oh, interesting. The OGR1. Oh dear, that's 2 penalties for him. George Alice has a stop go. I think he probably would have served that. Yeah. Oh dear, that's probably why he lost so much time. Lewis has too many penalties as well, has a penalty and a warning, so who doesn't? Is it George Alice only has a warning? So George Alice, it might play into his hands here, as the OGR1 has, well, 2 penalties, so might play into George Alice's hands here, as I believe Lewis has a penalty as well, but Lewis has caught up so much while we've been checking the race director. Yep. Oh, and as I say that, no! Lewis has spun! Pushing way too hard! And that's probably damage it is. Oh, dearie me. Pushing way too hard. The same mistake Lakitu made. And he's pushed way too hard. And that is his race. Podium hopes over. He'll have to pit again. And that's what happens when you try and push too hard. Mr. Costa's been gifted P4, and that's what happens when you push way too hard. You lose the back end. I guess that's what happened to Nikita on lap 2 or 3 as well, and that's exactly what has happened to Lewis there. Such a shame, coming from the back on Ultra Softs. He was looking so good for P2 and it just didn't go right. Now remember, the OGR has 6 seconds worth of penalties. George Ellis, I believe, doesn't have anything. So the OGR one has to get a 6-second gap to George Ellis. If he wants to win, and he's a bit quicker, so it doesn't seem impossible for that to happen. Don't know, be interested to see. Let's keep an eye on that gap over time. Is there any racing going on? John Digweed and Ace Hansen looks to be the only race on track at the moment. Yep. Oh, as I say that, Cobblers Jimmy is just overtaking their side by side of Cobblers Jimmy and John 7722. And wow, they come so close. And now John 7722 has overtaken him. No, he hasn't. He's re-overtaken him. Did he just cut a corner to Cobblers Jimmy? Or did John 722 make a mistake? So these two battling an absolute ding-dong. The Mercedes and the McLaren. Very interesting to see. Yep, that's interesting. Cobblers Jimmy and John 7722. So here we go then. John 7722 in the Mercedes. He's all over the back of him and he gets it quite comfortably. Does he down the inside, John 7722, and he gets Cobblers Jimmy. And moves up into P7 then. Lovely jubbly for him. But Cobblers Jimmy's just going to get DRS. Oh, he goes very slowly, almost like he purposely held him up there. Ace Assassin, though, is right on the back. Is John Digweed now. Seems to have lost quite a lot of time as John Digweed is on the fresher Ultra Soft compounded tyres and is right on the back of Ace Hasnain, I believe his name is. Around the outside now. He's going to try. He'll get slipstream here. And yes, he will. So, oh, and almost losing the back end there behind us. A lot of people losing the back end here in Russia. Here we go then. John Digweed right on the back of him then. Is he going to go for a move into turn 1? He's right on the back. DRS wide open down the inside. No, he's not. Thinks better of it. Very interesting indeed then. Thinks better of it. And it's not going to happen for him now. Any more racing going on? We've got John Digweed in front, of course. Sorry, not done with Cobblers Jimmy, who's falling back by the looks of things. So 3.4 is now the gap between George Ellis and the OGR1. He needs to have a 6-second gap. It doesn't seem impossible at the pace of the OGR1 at the moment, but Mike is running away with this ever since ERL Falcon retired a few laps ago. And Realist has no battles. As I say that, John Digweed has overtaken Ace Hasnain, and well done to him. That is P9 now for John Digweed on the Ultra Soft. He will try and hunt down Cobblers Jimmy, who's dropped off a lot from John 7722 in the last couple of laps. For sure, definitely so. And he's on the fresher Ultra Soft, so he'll be on a charge, a bit like Lewis would have been until he spun because he's pushing way too hard. So yeah, interesting to see now. He'll push, just keep an eye on that gap. He really is taking chunks of time now out of Cobblers Jimmy. Look at that, 2 tenths in that little section. He's really going to catch him. So he could get P8, maybe even P7, could John Digweed. So he is going to be a man to watch over the next few laps. Also keep an eye on that gap between the OGR1 and George Ellis. If that's 6 seconds, then the OGR1 will sneak 6th place. As Lewis has just set a fastest lap there. He's currently in P13. He may be able to get points because you can see they're pretty bunched up here. There's only about a second gap between them all. We still have about 9 laps to go, so it's definitely not over yet for Lewis. He could still try and grab some points, and John Digweed is really taking massive chunks of time out with Cobblers Jimmy, so that is not over either. He could be fighting for P7. The croissant train really is a little bit further. Then of course P5 is all the places. Talking about P5, Ashbest is on the back of Mr. Costa. The two Saubers getting close for comfort. Interesting. Should we see if these two battle, or they try and get some good constructors points, or they will be free to battle. Be interesting to see what happens down at Sauber. Oh, and Lewis has just overtaken Joe Ruru. So Lewis is on a charge to try and get back in spun. What happened there? They battle. Ashbest get Mr. Costa. It says he's on supers, but he says he's on ultras on the screen, so not sure which is right. I think he may be on ultras. That's why he got him so quickly. So Ashbest moving to P4 may catch George Ellis. And remember, the OGR1 needs to be 6 seconds ahead, and he really is pulling in at quite a rate here. So that's not over at all. So let's get up down on John Digweed, who's already within DRS range now of Covis Jimmy. So he has been on fire, along with Lewis, who's already within DRS range of 11th. So let's go on board with him then. Let's watch his charge after his spin when he pitted. He's on fresh Ultra Softs. So now he's within DRS. I think he's going to be too far back to make a move on this lap. Yes, he is, but he's really gaining them. John Digweed has worked so hard over the past few laps and he's gained on Covis Jimmy. P7 is probably still in his sights. Maybe not because he's losing time. Covis Jimmy is to John 7's 22. Ever since that battle, he's now 3 seconds ahead. 4.1 now, the gap between George Alice and the OGR1. Mr. Costa, of course, Ash Best, I believe is on Ultrasoft, is taking quite a bit of chunk of time out of George Alice. Not sure about his penalties though, so do bear that in mind. George Alice now is getting very close to Covis Jimmy. Probably overtake him. That'll be P8 for him, and he might fancy his chances of P7, even though it's a long way ahead, and we've still got 7.5 laps. So say it's a long way. Maybe not. Especially on those fresh Ultra Soft. They will die off at the end though. Also keep an eye on Lewis, who is now in P11. Apologies, we've missed that. So Lewis is now in P11 and is within DRS range of P10. So he could find himself with some points here. And very, very close is Covis Jimmy and John Digweed. They're now side by side. So this will help Lewis as they will be wasting time. What happened to Falcon? Falcon pretty much turning the wall. Oh, there's a big crash. Big crash. Covis Jimmy has spun and has turned into John Digweed. How unlucky for John Digweed. He's trying to go around Covis Jimmy as he spins, and Covis Jimmy's tyres come off, and John Digweed lost time. Lewis is now promoted to P9. What just happened then? I think it was the back end. Exactly the same what happened to Falcon. Lost the back end, did Covis Jimmy, and then John Digweed just ploughed into him for good measure, which took his wheel off and gave John Digweed a lot of damage. And then that just secured him out of the race. And now Lewis is in P9, battling for P8. So he would have dreamed of that. An absolute dream for Lewis after a probably rookie mistake from him earlier on. But if he can catch him now, he'll be back on for P8. Doubt P7 as he's 6 seconds back. Now, meanwhile, John is catching Croissant Train. He's now 1.5 seconds. I've been keeping an eye on the gap. That was a very weird crash, Warlock. You're right. I was just keeping an eye on that gap, and John is really catching as Lewis, as I said, as I turn off. Lewis gets him, and Lewis is now into P8. So, wow, from, a possible chance of P10, he's now got 4 solid World Championship points. And look at that in P2 and P3. That gap is now over 6 seconds. Let's just triple check the penalties for one final time now then. Mike has a penalty, but it's not going to affect anything. The OGR1 has... Oh, he's got 9 seconds. Oh, dear, that's going to be a shame. Unless George Alice has got one, which he hasn't. Ash Best has got a penalty. Mr. Costa has got 2 penalties. Croissant Train has got a penalty. John has got a penalty. Lewis, he's got a penalty, though. That's going to annoy him. 2 penalties. That's a shame for... the OGR1, because he's just over 6 seconds. That's now got to turn into 9. I don't know if he'll be able to do that. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, Mike, 19.5 seconds clear. Ever since Falcon crashed, he's not had really any issues. What happened to Falcon, apologies, I'm answering your question for that weird crash. It was exactly the same position and pretty much exactly the same scenario. Falcon just lost the back end and hit the wall, and unfortunately that retired him. So it's a shame for him. Yeah, that was a very odd crash, wasn't it? Indeed it was. Much action going on, as I said. I think someone else overtook, did he? George Alice, Ash Best is all of a sudden, what happened there? George Alice has lost some time or something, because Ash Best and Mr. Costa are right on the back here of and Mr. Costa's got him. Yep, sorry, I was paying attention to FP3. His Ogma just puts him in 6th. Great lap from him. Wow, how interesting is that? Very interesting. So George Alice has lost some time, and now he's just pulled away a little bit, but Mr. Costa was right on the back of him. I don't know what happened there. We missed it. Yeah, exactly the same with Hamza Lakitu. Yeah, exactly the same for Falcon and Tacobis Jimmy. So multiple guys have made multiple errors. If you are interested, because there's not much action going on at the moment in the FP3 current standings, how Vettel is less than a tenth off Hamilton, so that will spice things up for qualifying. Raikkonen's in 4th, and also Hulkenberg is in 6th. Sainz has just put it in 7th. So Renault looking on the pace as well. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of an update with FP3, as of course not much action is going on here. But these two Saubers are pretty much side by side, which is interesting to see. Yep, side by side, aren't they? Very close. They're also catching George Alice quite quickly. If you guys want to post your comments, we will be having interviews after the race. I'm not sure if we'll get the OGR1 and George Allison, but we definitely have Michelangelo in the party if you want to ask him some questions. He'll definitely be there for you. So, not much going on then at the moment. Just keep an eye on FP3 for you all, the quali runs. Renault seem to be there as probably the 3rd, maybe 4th best team at the moment, which is interesting. As I say, that Sergio Perez, it's interesting to see what kind of lap he does. Yeah, very interesting to see there for Renault. Sainz is pretty much on par with Hulkenberg, so really good for him. Meanwhile, Mr. Costa then is right on the back of George Alice, and he's within slipstream and DRS, just under 4 laps remaining then. This, for the final place on the podium, will get spicy between George Alice and Mr. Costa. Very interesting. You see George Alice, while these two are battling, the OGR1 might get those 9 seconds he needs for P2. So I think Mr. Costa has a penalty. George Alice doesn't, but it's the OGR1 might get those 9 seconds, which will give him P2 whilst these two are battling. So it's all favouring the OGR1 at the moment while these two battle, because he will get those 9 seconds probably. Indeed he will. It's interesting to see, isn't it? Wow, and running wide is George Alice, making a mistake. You can see the gap there is pretty much 8.9 seconds. Meanwhile, Mr. Costa is right on the back of him, and he's going to get DRS in. He probably will overtake him. I'm not sure what penalties Mr. Costa has. We'll check after this corner. Here we go then, DRS in the slipstream. He's going to be very, very clip. Less than 2 tenths now, gaining. Is he going to go to the inside? He does, he breaks straight. Down the inside goes Mr. Costa, but well defended from as John Digweed's retired. Oh, dearie me, it's gone bad from worse for him. Let's take a look at the penalties then. The OGR1, we know he's got 3 penalties. He only has 3. Good for him. George Alice has absolutely nothing. Ashbest has a penalty, so George Alice will probably get Ashbest, as Ashbest has now dropped off even more. So Mr. Costa's dropped off as Ashbest has got him. So what's happened there? As soon as I check, Mike's pitted! Mike has pitted! Why is Mike pitted? Oh, dearie me, Mike has pitted then. Mike has pitted. I didn't see that coming. He probably thinks his tyres have gone off. He's going to catch his teammate pretty quickly, but oh dear, the OTR1, if he can defend now, he might win this race. 3 laps to go. Mike is pitted. The gap is a second. We know how hard it is to overtake here. GRGO1 might be gifted here. That might be a mistake from Mike. I would say just try and nurse your tyres home, because yes, he had a good gap, but it's hard to overtake here. Mike has really put himself under a lot of pressure. He'll catch him, no bother, but it's hard to overtake here, and we know the OGR1, he won't have much tyres left, but I'm sure he'll defend for his life. Mike is actually catching very quickly, so no, he might have damage. He might have got damage. Up the inside goes Mike though, and the move is already done. So a little bit of action there, but Mike may have got damage, but I think he's just pulling away now even quicker. So that's actually worked out well for Mike. He's pitted. He doesn't have to, of course, he doesn't have to, excuse me, he doesn't have to do anything else. And he's now safely pitted. Interesting for him. Safely pitted as Mike, and he's now pulling away very quickly. So you can see, look at the gaps. There's really no gaps. Lewis is on the back of John. I'm not sure or aware if there's penalties, but let's just focus on the action for now. If you have enjoyed this race, I don't see why you haven't. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, please, guys. Show your support. Hit that like button so many times. Show your support for the channel and the commentary. Keeps us motivated, keeps us doing this commentary. If you enjoy it and you don't like it, you may not get the commentary, so make sure you hit the like button. Meanwhile, Lewis is right on the back of John. I'm not aware of the penalties, we're going to treat it like this is for a net position then. Hopefully it is, because I'd like to see another battle. You can see Lewis is right in the back of him as well. So, you know, he's probably going to get him by the end of the straight, but I'm not aware of penalties. Maybe John has less penalties. And John, of course, at the poor qualifying, Lewis is getting around the outside. Well defended from John. And you see Mike, meanwhile, is already over 3 seconds clear. George Ellis, of course, is at that 9 seconds, that crucial 9 seconds the OGR1 needs. It's on thousandths. Look at that. It's literally on the thousandths brink. Keep an eye on that gap between second and third. That has to be 9 seconds for the OGR1 to win, as Lewis is going to get him then. Well played from Lewis. P6 for Lewis. But that gap has to be has to be about 9 seconds. But now the George Ellis has pulled away a bit more now from George OGR1 is lost, pulled away a bit more from George Ellis. Ashbest. Lewis is ahead though of John. Not sure or aware of the penalties though. Mike pitted, and of course safely for him, he's going around the penultimate corner now to start his final lap. We'll have an interview with him shortly, so get ready and start posting questions. It's fastest lap, of course, no surprise. So get posting your questions, as FP3 is finishing up now, and Vettel is 900ths off Hamilton, if that interests you. Meanwhile, this Ferrari is leading the race with, it's a 1-2 it's going to be for Ferrari, so very well done. Johnny's not here, but his reserve is going to get him a 1-2. Great that is for Ferrari, isn't it? FP3 has come to an end, and this race is also coming to an end. That 9-second gap is what we're watching, unless anyone else has got any other penalties, which I don't think they are. I'm not going to keep up on that. But here we go then. Mike is gaining 9.4 is the gap at the moment. And again, nothing has really happened in the final 10-15 laps ever since ERL Falcon retired, of course. But apart from that, Mike has had it pretty easy. A bit of controversy when he pitted, but he put ahead, no bother, and he's already 7 seconds ahead. Mike is way too quick for any of these guys at the moment, apart from Falcon, who unfortunately retired after coming up to this corner now. Not this corner. Unfortunately, he lost the back end and put it in the wall. This corner here, lost the back end and put it in the wall. But Mike then, it's been a fairly troublous race ever since Falcon retired. And around the final corner for him. And it's going to be a win in Russia for Michelangelo, 53, and takes the lead in the championship by 28 points. Very well done to him. And actually, no, I've just seen the gap between the OGR1 and George Ellis, and it is 9.8 seconds. The OGR1 comes home in second, and that's going to be a 1-2 for Ferrari. Johnny's not here, but a 1-2 for Ferrari. George Ellis third, Ashbest fourth, Mr. Costa in fifth. Lewis, a great comeback, and he will come to P6, even though he spun. P6 for Lewis, P7 for John in the end. Mali Duck, unfortunately, in 12th lap. Croissant Train comes home in 8th. And you've got Nokraga in 9th, and Ace Hasnain in 10th. And Joe Ruro will finish in 11th, just outside the points for him. Very interesting, then. And there we go, that's over. Hopefully Mike unmutes us now. We're going to have an interview with the race winner, Michael Angelo. We'll also have ERL Falcon in here as well. So get your questions in for your race winner, and of course ERL Falcon, who retired. We'll try and get the other podium sitters in as well. So we're just now waiting for them all to come in and unmute me. There's the podium then. Pretty troublous race for Mike. A 1-2 for Scuderia Ferrari in Russia. Hopefully you enjoyed that race. If you did, make sure you smack that like button and subscribe for some more great races like this. Just waiting for the unmute for Mike to unmute me along with ERL Falcon. Look at the penalties. Russia very strict for penalties, of course. Well done to Noakro, who didn't get a single penalty. Well done to him. Mike only with one, so well done to those guys. Guys, if you've got any questions for ERL Falcon or Michelangelo, your race winner, post them in the comments now. And of course, we will answer them for you when these guys, well, pretty much unmute me. Just waiting for them to do so. Okay, that was a pretty good race. Very much enjoyed it. Just trying to get some interviews for you all here as well. Make sure you hit the like button, of course, if you're just joining us from the race itself. If you're a racer, hit the like button, support the stream. Much appreciated. Also subscribe. Mike, your top 3 for the season. We will ask him as soon as he unmutes me. Unfortunately, I have no control over that. Very interesting then. Oh, here we go. Here he is. Mike, congratulations. P1, a very troubleless race for you. But one question I want to ask first before we get questions from the guys in the comments. What actually went through your head to pit there? Because I got a bit worried, but of course you had the pace. But did you know you had the pace, so that's why you pitted later on in the race?
Nah, I just saw Lewis putting the quickest lap, so I had a 21-second lead. So Jeff was saying that I could rejoin first. Again, I didn't, but it was an easy job to get past my teammates, and then just for a few reasons we didn't focus.
Yeah, very well done for you. Very dominant race. Chill Drivers has got a question. Mike, your top 3 for the season. Imagine 1, 2, 3 in the Drivers' Championship. I think that's what he's asking you.
Okay. For me, we got some very good drivers. I think if Louis stays and he has actually consistent, then he could be up there.
Yeah.
Falcon obviously always be up there. He's always very dedicated driver who is very quick. He just had a one-off today, so yeah, he will definitely be in the top 3. And Ash Best as well, pretty quickly B2, because Ren from esports as well is joined. So
yeah. Very well done. Anyone else in the comments got any questions before we leave? Because I don't think we're going to get anyone else in. If anyone's got any questions, post them now. Got 25 seconds before we end the stream here. Been a decent race, not the best race we've had this season, but hopefully you enjoyed. As I said, hit the like button and subscribe if you did for all the future commentary. And I think nobody else is going to be here. Don't think we're going to get any more questions then. So I want to thank you all so much for watching round 4 of season 3. Oh, hold on, we have a question. Not related to this race, but Mike, when the fuck will I get a podium? Says Chill Drive. Well, you're going to work hard and you never know. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate it all. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for all future races. And goodbye. See you next week in Spain.